you hear that? That's pretty dope, huh?
I heard all of that.
You
You
did?
got intro music now?
Yeah, man. We rocking with the intros. We gonna change some things up, man. Welcome to the .Ugly Truth Podcast, where I speak with some amazing people that do some amazing things. But as you know, everything that glitters is not always so gold. There's always some ugly before that beauty starts to sprout out. So today we're gonna be talking about my own ugly, and we get interviewed on my own podcast by my right hand man, Big Movers. You guys don't understand how much of a how much of a role he plays in this ugly brand and the technology and all of that kind of stuff going on in the ugly brand, and just not even just the technology but my mental. And so that's why I don't think there's anyone better to interview me on this, because there's a level that we talk, and it's a space where I'm able to be free, but it's also a space where I'm held very accountable. And I do have coaches. They hold me accountable as well. But our relationship has grown to it's a friendship, and it's a family ship. Like, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm a rock with it. And yeah, family ship. Yeah. And so today I wasn't even gonna this week I wasn't gonna have anything to release again, right? Because we've done this before, and it's been because simply my time management and just the aggressive week that I've had has it caught up to me, and I was mentally out of it, and Matt was like, nah. So here we are. We're not having it. He's not allowing it. And so I highly recommend that no matter what you're doing in life, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be marriage, whether it be parenthood, or whatever obstacles you're facing in your life, I highly, highly recommend that you get someone in your space that can hold you accountable without you feeling attacked. And there's a level of maturity that comes with that. There's a level of accepting your own stuff that will only allow for someone else to come in and you not feel attacked, but to feel more so like, okay, man, now, okay, I just need to get my stuff together. So I highly, highly recommend you guys to do that. This is something I forgot to say. The Ugly Truth Podcast is sponsored by The Ugly Brand. Go ahead and get your gear at www.theuglybrand.com. That is theuglybrand.com, where we like to stay ugly. Let's get it, man. Let's get it, go. Let's go.
First question. So, becoming Koach K. Who is Koach K?
Who is Koach K? Yo, I didn't even know Coach K was like a real person. In my mind, growing up, Coach K was the basketball coach from Duke. That's the Coach K that I know. The greatest to ever do it. But when I started this brand, I didn't think that it was just a t-shirt brand for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just apparel. I'm selling some t-shirts. And I'm selling some hoodies now. But then I got with the right coach, and he opened my eyes to a bigger vision. And the vision is to be able to coach others in the space of fear and limiting beliefs. Because that's the point of the ugly brand. I'm telling people to do it ugly. I'm telling you to get over your fears. I'm telling you to move past those things. Whatever those limiting beliefs are, I'm telling you to do it no matter what it looks like. And so it's now turned into Kelly becoming a coach, a fear and limiting beliefs coach. And on the morning meetup, we brag about this all the time. You'll see the link, okay? I will have a link in the description. If you are an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you can get in this group, and I'm telling you, you can get fed for 5 days a week, okay? 5 days a week. Yep. There's a fee associated. It's $79, but my question to you is, are you worth it? That you answer your own question, okay?
It's the price of a cup of coffee.
It is.
If you drink expensive coffee at that,
yeah.
Coffee, it's a savings.
Yeah, man. Like the level of value is, I could talk about that all day. But anyway, so someone in there was like, yeah, that's Coach K. And I'm like, okay, I like that. We can rock with that. And so Coach K is me becoming a coach to be able to coach people through their fears and their limiting beliefs, to help them move past that to get to their great.
Okay. So I guess in the most respectful way, what qualifies you to coach people? Why do you think that you should be somebody that should be helping folks strive through their fears and limiting beliefs?
Right. I think I'm still figuring that out. To be 1,000% honest, I've I didn't plan for this to be this. You know what I mean? Like, I literally planned for this to just simply be a t-shirt brand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I start getting DMs and I start getting messages and I start getting phone calls about, Kelly, when I was scared to do this, I heard your voice in my head. Like, I literally had a young lady tell me yesterday that my voice lives in her head. And I realized that there's a bigger impact to be had other than just a t-shirt or other than just a hoodie. And so now I'm like, okay, it's been brought to me. You know, my coach, Mogul Mike, is like, yeah, we can make this an entire thing. Like, you can make this a coaching program. And I'm like, I'm not nobody's coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for business, business management. Like, that's what I went to school for. That's what I have a master's in. I didn't go to school to be nobody's coach. And he said what qualifies you is the fact that you've been able to tap into people's emotions. And it's not an intentional thing, right? Like, it's not like a manipulative thing, right? Because I'm not here to manipulate anybody. I'm not going to manipulate anybody. I'm just going to expose you to what I know you can be. Or expose you to what you know you can be, or maybe you don't know it yet. But that's my job, right? And so the moment I was able to start doing that, I realized, okay, Kel, this is a lot bigger than a t-shirt brand. This is a lot bigger than yourself. And so you have an ability and a way of talking to people that they listen. And so once I realized that, I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to do the work. And so what now qualifies me education-wise is the coaching that I'm receiving from my two coaches and the hours of study that I'm putting in.
Okay.
And so right now I'm on a journey of putting in at least 100 hours of study in regard to fears and limiting beliefs. So I've got books and just books on books on books and watching YouTube videos and even talking to other coaches about, you know, and studying them and what they might be doing. And so, you know, what qualifies me, I'm still being qualified right now, I think, on paper. But what qualifies me, I think, most is my calling. Because I didn't ask to do, it's not what I signed up for. It's not what I signed up for. And I just think that to be able to tap in with people and to be able to connect with people on the level that I do, it's amazing to me. I genuinely don't realize how strongly people connect and how strongly they I don't know, sir, recognize with the brand and the messages that I might say or the things that I might say. So I think that's where my level of qualification comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, so we've had phone calls. We've had a lot of conversation where you were working through your own fears or limiting beliefs in that moment, right? Like you said, you don't see the impact that you're having. You don't understand how large it actually is. Tell me about the scariest moment of that you've had. Like, why is it so difficult to see that mountaintop that you're actually rising to? You know, like everybody else sees the level and we're telling you, like, what you mean? You're killing it.
Yeah.
What is it that you're experiencing that is causing that challenge?
I think what I'm experiencing right now is a level of impatience. And what I mean by that is there's so much belief in what's happening, right? And I think I'm struggling waiting to actually see it happen. So I don't know if it's a fear. I think it's more a level of anxious
Mm-hmm.
to see if this is really gonna work. So I don't know, even in my mind, like even as I said it out loud, I don't know if I'm questioning whether it's gonna work or not. I just don't know what it looks like because I'm not there yet.
Got you.
You know what I mean? And so that even in of itself is a scary place because you're like, I don't know what this is gonna look like. I'm putting in this work.
You're the pioneer.
Yeah, like you're right. You know what I mean? Like yeah, like I don't know. I ain't never had nobody do this that I've known on, unless like I hear the coaches that we get to speak to, right? Like so on Friday we were able to hear Coach Kendall speak, and they call him Koach K as well. I spell mine differently. I spell mine Koach. But him and you hear folks like Dwayne, and then you hear folks like Dave, and then like so these are just people that I'm so exposed to, right? And I hear their stories, and it's not to say I don't believe their stories. I think in my mind I have to also in their story understand that their story was not overnight. So I think there's a level of impatience with me that's happening, but it's mixed with being anxious. So it's like you hear people telling you like, Kelly, what you're building is great. Like what you got something good. You got something good. And sometimes I'll be like, do I? Like, is it that good? Like, is it like, am I not seeing it? And maybe I'm not seeing it because I'm in it. And I think that's a thing that sometimes you don't see how great things can be when you're in it, because you're so in it, you're so involved, like you're so hands-on. You had some people who see in the hoodies or the shirts and they're like, man, them joints is dope. And I'm like hitting up the logo designer like, okay, now we need to be doing this. Now we need to be doing a Valentine's Day logo. Now we need to be doing that. I'm missing what is actually being produced. So, and I think that's the place that we need to be careful in, because you don't want to miss the views along the way. And so sometimes I have to slow myself down and not be so hard on myself because I'm not where I want to be, and realize that I'm where I need to be. And because I don't want to miss the countryside views. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm so in this fast lane, you know what I mean? And sometimes you get so focused on what's happening in the fast lane that you miss what's happening out the windows. You miss the trees and you miss the mountains and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I try to mentally remind myself of those things, and you do a good job of reminding me of that, because there are times where I'll call you and I'm like, man, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not doing what I want to do. And then, you'll let me know, and you're like, Kelly, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? You done missed the mountain that you've done this last week. You done missed the mountain. Did you forget you told me this happened this week? Did you forget that you told me this happened this week? Like, what you missing? You missing something, sis. You doing too much. And so,
you forget that you're your first player. Like
I forget.
You coaching the team, but
I forget.
You are a coach player. You know what I mean? You're
right. I'm still a student. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that's one thing that I appreciate for my leadership. They'll bring me back down to a place and say, Kelly, look, you right where you need to be. Like, you're where I want you to be. Because I still have a coach, right? So now I'm coaching people that are probably going to be feeling the same way that I'm feeling at some point. And then you have that level of empathy that you have to have, and that level of like, yo, what are you talking about? You right where you need to be. And so then you yourself have to be mentally and emotionally mature enough to say, you know what, all right, I'm back. Because I think that a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves because we expect so much, like we have this vision. And I just think that we live in a space of being impatient. And so I have to learn, and I'm learning, delayed gratification. And that, whether that be financial, whether that be results, whether that be production, like whatever it is, to be okay with delayed gratification. So it's definitely something I'm working on.
But that's what I mean. That's like you said, enjoying the view, right? So
right.
You're not like, you pack the lunch. You're going on this journey. You're going up a mountain. You're not gonna snack on that lunch till you get to the top of the mountain. But along the way, look to your left, see some beautiful foliage. Look to your right, see a deer eating a berry. You know what I mean? You're enjoying
Right.
the view
Right.
on your way to be able to enjoy that lunch you packed.
Right. Right.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you're doing it for a reason.
Mhm.
Why stop? You set a
Right.
goal. Why would you not accomplish the goal first?
Right.
And so, speaking of that, tell me about some of your short term goals. Like, we know launching the program is probably the
Mhm.
largest short term
Mhm.
goal.
Mhm.
Tell me about some of those steps along the way.
Yep. So, my largest short term goal right now is, you're right, is to launch the program, which is going to be called Delta Iota Epsilon, which is DIU in Greek letters. We're going to structure it as if it is a fraternity, or
Okay,
sorority type deal.
right. A
Um,
sorority.
right, sorority. Yeah, we're gonna do that, a sorority, and it'll come under the blanket of Ugly University. And
Okay,
so the short term goal is to have this launched by March 11th. For some reason, the number 11 is really important to me and my family. So normally when I release things and normally when I launch things, it will happen on the 11th, and normally at 11/11. Um, but so that's the shortest. That is that's the biggest short term goal I have. Um, and so that's what I've really been focusing on now. For a while, for a slight second, I was gonna put the T-shirt brand in the hood, put the brand down, the T-shirts and apparel. But it was just a slight second. It was like a day, and
I don't think
then
your fan base would have allowed
it
that. You
didn't.
got
It did
cussed
not.
out.
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, my coaches were like, "Yeah, so we're not doing that." And on top of that, you need to go ahead and release the Black History Month in the Valentine's Day
Right.
edition.
Yep. You
On
gotta
top
up
of
it.
that,
Yep.
right? So since you thought stuff was about to be sweet, let me go ahead and put this on your plate, and
Right.
which is
Because it's
done.
getting hot in here.
Yeah,
More
right.
streams.
Yeah, and so it's done. The logo for the Black History Month edition is done. It's actually available for pre-order right now. The
Oh
Valentine's
shit, that's
Day.
news to me. I'm gonna have to go and get mine.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting in the order today, so you might want to get big on that. But what's crazy is, and it's so crazy, Matt, what happened this morning. I'm in the grocery store, and I'm just minding my business. Normally, when I'm in the grocery store, I'll have on my AirPods, listening to music. And I got a DM, and your AirPods, like your phone will read you something like that. I got a DM from somebody I've never talked to a day in my life, but they follow me, so it's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
And he says to me, "Hey, I want to put your brand at my kiosk in Cumberland Mall." And I'm like,
So for the people who don't know, real quick, what is Cumberland Mall? What is that
I don't
significant?
know. It's in Atlanta. It's a kiosk in a mall in Atlanta. I had to Google
It's a
it
big mall,
myself.
small mall, strip
I don't
mall.
know. I had to Google it myself.
Okay.
Cumberland Mall. I guess, for me, ATL is like, Black
Black
Hollywood.
Mecca.
So yeah, right. So it's not like it ain't Lenox Mall. Now I do know about Lenox Mall. You get to Lenox Mall,
Okay.
that's a different level. But I do know that Cumberland Mall is a semi big deal in the ATL area. I believe so.
Mm-hmm. I've heard it mentioned some songs.
Yeah. I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, and so I'm like, I look at this message, and then immediately I go to this man's page because I'm like, yo, people be scamming. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah. I've
like,
gotten some. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I've gotten some dirty DMs. So I'm like, man,
You go to the
let me go see what's
page, you
happening.
tell
Yeah.
it's a bunch of forex
I need to see,
pages, all this.
man, all that. I need the little Cash App. I can flip your 500 into
Right.
5,000 and all that. Western Union. I'm like, man, so let me go to this guy's
Worst
DM. I
practice
mean,
ever.
right? They're horrible. I'm like, let me go to his page, and I scroll down a couple of little lines, and he's in a picture with Dave. So I'm like, oh, okay, he legit then. Cool, no problem. Immediately, once I saw that, I'm like, we out. No problem. We're done.
Check.
Yep.
Done.
So I said, bro, are you kidding me? Are you serious? And he's like, I'm dead serious. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a conversation. Are you available? And I'm like, well, I'm at the grocery store right now. Give me about an hour. Cool, we'll talk at 9:30. And right before you and I just started recording, we had a conversation. And we're going to do it. It's going to be a thing. And I never thought that, and to hear him say the words and the things to me, he says, I've been studying you for a while. And I'm like, y'all ain't never even had a conversation with this dude. I don't even know his name. I didn't know his name. I'm like, yo, who are you? And he's like, I've been studying you for a little bit, and I've seen how you've grown your brand, and I don't just offer this to anybody because I know the power that I have with the kiosk and what I'm able to do, and I don't mess with people who I don't recognize, with I don't relate to. And he said, but your message and the way that you move with your message is parallel, and so I want to give you a month at the kiosk. And the month that he wants to give me is what? It's February. My mentor just said, you gonna drop this Black History joint. I wasn't gonna do it. So it's just so crazy how things align. And it's, this week was very aggressive for me. Out of nowhere, I have 2 real estate clients. And my 9 to 5 was super aggressive this week. And I didn't really have a lot of time to dedicate to the brand. And I felt bad for it. I felt bad because I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing this, man. I'm not supposed to be staying up till 11 o'clock working on my 9 to 5. I'm supposed to be up at 11 o'clock at night working on, studying, reading. I'm getting my reps in. But sometimes it's just like that. That's, because at the end of the day, the reality for me is I still got bills to pay and I still got things to do. And I still got a home to take care of. And so, everything just turned around, and this is the week where I was frustrated, and you let me have it this week. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're not doing this, Kel. Like, come on, let me get you together. And it was with a level of empathy as well. And it was what I needed to hear. It was what I needed to hear. And it's like right when I be like questioning, yo, am I built for this? Then something like this happens. Right. And it's just a gentle reminder, like, yo, this is what you're supposed to be doing. But
yeah.
You got to go through these trenches. Like, you got to go through these hard times because the people that are going to be coming to you going to be looking at you to get out of these hard times. And I find it difficult for someone to tell someone else how to get out of hard times if they've never had hard times. And you can study and you can read all day in the pain, but there's no other teacher like experience. And so I'm very transparent with the things that I go through because I don't want anybody to think that this is sweet. The results are sweet. The work that I do is sweet. I love what I do and I love what I'm doing. I love who I'm becoming. But boy, there are some growing pains that are coming along with this that are just hitting different. And I know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. And I know that, okay, well, if you're uncomfortable, that means you're growing.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people miss that. I think that when sometimes people get uncomfortable, they're like, y'all, I don't want to do this no more, and I'm not going to do this anymore. Versus, it's kind of like, all right, so I used to ride motorcycles, right? And I was pretty good on motorcycles, pretty good rider. And I was getting trained by one of the best in our area, in the DMV area. And he told me that if you ever get into a turn, if you lean into a turn, don't ever press the brake.
Yep.
Because it'll stand the bike up. And at that point, if you're in a turn and you stand the bike up, you're going to go straight.
You won't.
Right? But you're supposed to be going this way. Right? So he would always say, if you're ever in a turn and you get uncomfortable, he said, give it more gas.
Yep.
And it'll give you more control. It'll get you where you're supposed to be going because you have to lean into the turn. Yeah. Yep.
Got you.
And so I gently have to remind myself that I'm in a turn right now. And when it gets uncomfortable, I can't press the brakes because then if I do that, I'm going to stand my bike up. So I just got to give it more gas and lean in a little harder, right? So just leaning in a little bit harder now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna rip for a second. I want to paint a picture. I want you to tell me if this is you, because I think it is. So in history, right? We don't remember the ship crew, right? We remember the ship, We remember the captain. We remember the epic story about whatever it is they dealt with, went through, survived, whatever. But we don't remember the crew,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are the captain of a ship,
Mm-hmm.
the SS Ugly, right? The captain is on the same ship as their crew,
Mm-hmm.
right? The captain is not doing the same work. There's someone
Mm-hmm.
who stands on the masthead and watches for, other ships, land,
Mm-hmm.
so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a helmsman. They do the steering. There's a first mate. They're like the manager,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's different crewmen with different roles. There's the weapons guys. There's the
Mm-hmm.
cooks. There's the people who are specifically dedicated to cleaning certain areas, right? Everybody's got their assignment,
Right.
right? And it's the captain's job to keep everybody motivated, to keep everybody alive, document the journey, and arrive at the destination,
Right.
right? And on your ship, you're going on a pioneering voyage. You've never been to where you're going, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
piloting your way to the Caribbean from somewhere in Europe, but you're not some racist who's stealing people. You're just on a journey,
Right. Right.
right? People are not going to remember the story about how the captain had to serve half portions of porridge because you were running out of food. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
remember the story about how y'all were surviving on whiskey for 2 weeks because you had no clean drinking water. So everybody was
Mm-hmm.
wasted and the job productivity was terrible. All that, right? All those silly things. We've all seen Pirates of the Caribbean. We see
Mm-hmm.
how ugly and disgusting it all looks, but they
Mm-hmm.
glamorize. They make it something special. They make it something significant. But the
Right.
truth is, the journey sucked.
Right.
But we remember who Blackbeard is. We've
Right.
heard that name before. Like, even if you don't know a lot of pirate stories, you know that name.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know that there are elements of the Pirates of the Caribbean that are based on real events. We remember the fancy story, remember the fancy costume, remember the name of the captain of the ship. They don't
Mm-hmm.
remember any of the difficult stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Steer the ship.
Yeah.
Steer the ship. Tell us where to go. Like, do west, do eat that, don't eat that, go to sleep, get up, run the ship.
Right. Right.
Because otherwise we're going to die. We all out here. We on this boat with you.
Yeah.
We signed up. We getting this is what you're getting paid when we get there.
Right.
That's how it worked. You didn't get paid before you took off the dock. You got paid when you got
When you
there.
arrive.
And in a lot of cases, because it was a round trip, you didn't get paid till you got back.
Right.
So you went through hell, got all the way there, landed, collected the booty, traveled all the way back,
Mm-hmm.
then paid the taxes, and then got paid.
Right. Right.
We out
It's,
here, fam. Steer the ship.
I know, man. I know, and it's, sometimes I don't I don't realize, like, yo, you got people depending on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people depending on you and you don't even know them yet.
Yup.
And that sometimes can be a crazy.
That haven't even been born yet.
Yeah.
You have to remember that. That's what the future is.
Yeah.
There's lives you're saving that haven't even been born yet.
Yeah, that's heavy, man.
And you're gonna be what pulls them out.
That's heavy, man. There's lives you've saved that haven't even been born yet.
It's the beauty of the digital era. You're building a product that's gonna live forever. There's elements of it that aren't you having to be there. It's videos they're gonna watch, it's tutorials they're gonna go through. It's a program.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna access that program, and you're not gonna be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's lives that you are changing that have not even been born yet.
Mm. Cut. Cut.
Got you a little bit.
Like, I don't. Yeah, man. Like, that's great. That's a great feeling. Like, it's a scary one, but it's a great one.
Yeah.
Because you want to get it right. Like, you want to get it right. You want to make it make sense. But it, I even have to sometimes remind myself, like, yo, you got to do it ugly. And I'm normally very confident. I'm very comfortable in an ugly space. I'm very comfortable there. But it doesn't mean I don't feel, you know what I mean? Like, it don't mean I don't sometimes feel like, dang, when is this ugly part going to get pretty? But at the same time, I'm like, yo, you gotta sit here in this space. You gotta feel it, because if you don't, if you do things prematurely, it's not gonna be effective. And the point of this is to be effective. You know what I mean? Like, forget the money, forget the forget the praise and all that stuff. Like, is it effective? Are you really helping somebody? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I am consistently reminded, like, you are helping people. And a lot of the times, like I said, I don't even be knowing it. I don't even know it, you know, until I get a message. And I normally get these messages on the days that I'm down, on the days that I'm struggling, on the days that I'm trying to help my damn self. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that message comes through and it'll be a push through. And I'm like, okay, Kel, yeah, it's time for you to lean in a little bit more to the turn. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's they say? Drop a gear, disappear.
Yeah.
It's time to do it.
Yeah, man. So.
I think a lot of folks, at least in my personal experience I've interacted with talking about your brand, to a lot of folks, do it ugly means do it now.
Yeah.
And for me, there was a plus to that. It's do it ugly. It's do it ugly. Do it now, right? Get started. Not worried about perfection. But it's do it consistently. Do it now and do it consistently.
Right.
Because all of that, at least in my opinion, the fear, the anxiety, the worry, those things are eliminated by falling back on the consistency.
Right.
I have a deadline to meet. I'm going to meet it. Period.
Right.
I have, an obligation to blank. I'm going to meet it. Period.
Right.
I started and now I'm going to finish.
Right.
I think a lot of people, and something, we're not even that far into it yet, so I don't know if you've experienced it directly, but it's definitely going to happen. There's folks who are going to do it ugly. They're going to do it now, and then they're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they're going to blame their mentality of doing it ugly on it. It's like, well, I did it ugly and it didn't work out for me, but you didn't finish consistently.
You didn't finish.
Right.
Yeah,
you started ugly, and that's what you did.
Yeah, that's it. You started, but and low key, man, like I even have to go through that with myself and my level of consistency because I struggle with it, man. I struggle with it, and I get the gas and I get going, and this is why for me it's so important to have coaches and accountability, and just people like yourself around me because you don't let me quit. You don't let me be inconsistent. Like, no, Kelly, I know we don't work on Sundays. You and I both don't work on Sundays. All we need is 30 minutes. We're going to record. You're not going to use this other method as a fallback. It's cool, but we're not going to keep using it as a fallback. You're going to pull up. Right. You need to show up. You know what I'm saying? And
this is the new fallback.
Right.
If it's not me, you get with your mom, somebody.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk to you for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I need to talk to you.
And that's going to be that.
Right. Because it also is a time where I get to be transparent. And I'm transparent anyway on my social media page. But this is really what I'm going through. Yeah, I don't want to be... I want people to see my journey and hear my journey now. I don't want you to hear it later on down the road. And eventually I know you will, right? Because that's just a part of what I'm doing. I'm going to be able to tell you my journey, but you're going to know that I'm not lying. I ain't playing. Like, I'm telling you, here it is, January, 22nd. Here's what I've been going through up until this point. And I've been recording almost every other day. Just about something I need to be a little bit more consistent about. Just like a minute. When I wake up in the morning, it's this time in the morning. I'm just getting up. This is what I'm doing. And at least in the evening, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm getting ready to go to bed, blah, blah, blah. And what I'm feeling. So it's kind of like digital journaling. What I'm going through. So that people can feel comfortable to, one, do it ugly. One. And two, know that from I started this thing in say January, and even in June you'll see where I'm at and you'll hear what I was going through to have got me where I was at, which shows you consistency and how hard it was to be consistent, because being consistent can be hard. And I think that a lot of the times that's normally one of the main things where people be like, man, if I could just be consistent. If I could just be consistent. And literally being consistent is making a decision every day to do what the hell you said you was going to do. Or if it's not every day, it's every opportunity you get to do what it was that you said you was going to do. It has to be every day, actually. It has to be. I gotta
Yeah,
be. I
yeah.
gotta do something. I gotta, whatever it is I was gonna do. Even if that has nothing to do with like the ugly brand, or if it has something to do with work or whatever the case may be. Like, I still gotta wake up. I still gotta show up and do the things that I know I need to do to get where it is that I say that I want to be. And it's hard. That shit is hard. It's hard, but
Yeah.
it's life changing when you get it. It's life changing when you get it and when you do it. So it's just like you said, like, we could start ugly, but you still have to run the race. You still have to finish. You have to finish. And just know, even when you finish, finishing to me is still just the beginning of another race. It's just don't go away. It doesn't go away. It's just a new race.
Right.
It's not the 400. This one might be a 100. You know, the next one might be an 800, 1600. You never know.
Right.
But you got to finish.
People remember the finishes.
Yeah. People remember the
It's not
finishes.
about, like, obviously first place is first place, but like if you came in last and you had a terrible race, you failed, twisted your ankle,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
finished the race, they're going to remember.
Yeah.
She finished the race.
Yeah, that's kind of
That's
like
the one who didn't quit. I want to know
yeah.
about her.
Yeah, that's kind of like what's the young lady's name? Shakari. And
Yeah.
she ran that race, right? And she went ham and then wasn't able to participate in the Olympics. She won that one, but then she jacked up, wasn't able to allowed to participate in the Olympics. And then when she came back and ran afterwards, and we just had this level of expectation for her to be up front.
Yep.
And she was nowhere near that, but she finished. And the way that she finished was like, yo, I didn't pull up the way I wanted to. I didn't show the way I wanted to, but I ran the race and understand I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back. I'm not quitting. This ain't it for me. And I respect that young lady so much for that, because she, even of herself, had an expectation, right? And things just did not go the way that they planned, that she may have planned, but she still finished the race. And with her finishing in the position that she did, it was, all right, I'll see y'all next time. So now I need to go, I figure out, I know what I need to do, I know what I need not to do, and I got this amount of time to get these reps in, so that the next race, maybe it's not 6th place, but it's 1st place. Or maybe it's not 1st place, but it's 3rd place. But we gonna always remember that even though she came in like 6th or 8th, I can't even remember, she still finished. And the way that she finished, though, was just, it was, to me, it was awesome. Still had her little chip on her shoulder, like, so, you know, it happened. All right, cool. But I got something for y'all next time. So I appreciated that.
So look, I'm gonna make you cry one more time, and then you can close this out. So I don't know if you knew this, but I'm a superhero. I am. I'm a superhero.
I believe
got
it.
Iron Man tatted on my arm. I used to go by Iron Matt. Like, I went hard. It was like, it was my username for probably 15 years. Like, I'm still Iron Man on the low. There's people who knew me from social media.
I low-key believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. But my name is Big Moves, and my superpower is motivation. I know how to help motivate people. When people are having a bad day. I know how to bring them up. You know what I mean? I'm that shot of dopamine that they need that will be off of that dopamine. Like, I can speak to it. I can get you going.
Right.
You are also a superhero. Superhero, you know, real recognize real, superhero recognize superhero. Your superpower is your integrity. And the reason I say that, I'm a corner cutter. You know, it's not like, I'm not lazy, but if I know there's a shorter way of doing things that will not damage, blah, you know what I mean?
Right.
If I can save $5, I'll save $5.
Right.
But working with you has raised my level of integrity. There are jobs I won't take because I know I'm not going to maintain that integrity of my brand. My brand is now attached to your brand. You know what I mean? What I do well helps you. What I do poorly can negatively affect you. Period. Like, it's true.
Okay, I found this on the web for Is It? Check it out.
Siri.
That was my Siri.
That was terrible. Okay, all right. So your integrity is your superpower because it drives you. I watch you. You know, you and I, we're both terrible C's. Our C's might as well be 0 on our disc assessment, right? Or whatever the worst is, like negative 100. It might as well be that.
Put it there.
But what makes your C work? What makes your C not your handicap is your integrity, because you know that it's your handicap. You know that not taking
Mm-hmm.
care, not getting organized, not putting something in place is going to damage your integrity. It's going to affect your
Mm-hmm.
brand in a negative way. It's going to shine a light that you don't need shine, whatever the case may be. When you're having a bad day and you know that you have an assignment to execute, the reason that it gets executed, the reason it's not 3 days late, 24 hours late, is because of your integrity.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that people seek you out, the way they attach themselves to you, the way they do, or the way they want to, because obviously you're not just letting anybody in your circle, but
Mm-hmm.
the way they want to, that desire, is because they see the integrity that they lack.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that. See, I told you I was gonna make you cry.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. This is the level of effect that I don't always realize that I have on people. But I'm just so it's overwhelming. I think it's great, and I'm grateful. It's overwhelming to know that so many people look up, and it's always something different, you know. For you to say integrity, you know, I have a lot of people who say things about transparency and vulnerability, and to just be able to help people and it just be natural. Like, it's just who I am. And I didn't even know that I was this person. And now having to accept that that's who you are. I love it here. I love it here. And I got a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. But to whom much is given, much is required.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now a responsibility of mine. So, it's not one that you can't, not I can't anyway, sit here and tell God, like, nah, bro, you picked the wrong one. Like, hey,
No, you can't.
yeah, like, you can't just be like, you know, God, hey, it's Kelz again. I know you still have me on this assignment. Can you let me know when I'm gonna get off? Because this ain't for me.
Right.
Like,
if you tell God that you picked the wrong one, you're gonna make him prove that he did.
you're gonna make,
And that just doesn't
exactly,
work.
right? Right? So
You say
it's
I
just
was
kind of
wrong.
like,
Me, God.
me? God?
Okay,
You talking about me? All right, cool. I got something for you.
You
And
got me. Up.
listen, right? So, I'm just more than grateful, because the right people have attached themselves to me. I didn't ask for this. I didn't. It's just the right people have attached themselves to me. Yeah, man. And to know that people genuinely want to be there for you, because we live in a time, in a day and age where it's really hard to trust people. It's really hard to know whether people genuinely want to be a part of what you have going on, and they genuinely support you, and not really need anything in return, but just for you to execute, you know? And there are some people that have attached themselves to me that I've grown a relationship and a trust with, like, y'all family me now. You know what I mean? Your family to me this goes so much deeper than the brand, as Jose would say. It's deeper than the brand. It's his family now, you know? And I just know that it's up. Like, it's up. And I know that I got some people in my space that, without a shadow of a doubt, I just not gonna have to worry about them. And that's comfortable. That's an amazing feeling, to know that I got people in my circle who are gonna tell me about myself. You know what I mean? Maybe it's gonna be polite. Sometimes it might not be. But because of the love that I have for you guys, I don't take it personal. I'd be like, damn, who this dude talking to? Oh, that would be me. Okay. All right, cool.
Right.
It would be me.
Oh, this is what I signed up for.
Right, this is what I signed up for. Like, when I call Matt and I'm like, yo, I'm just not feeling myself right now. Like, I'm just not feeling myself right now. I'm not. Oh, so you need some straightening. Cool. I'm going to give you a call in 10 minutes. You need some straightening. I'm going to give you a call. Like, you available? I really don't care if you're available or not. I'm calling you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's how it goes. So the environment that I'm creating and that's being created and that's being cultivated is literally just, it's literally the things that hold me afloat. The days that I don't have it. Because there are some days I just don't have it. And that's when you kick in. That's when Cat kicks in. That's when Mogul Mike kicks in. That's when my mom kicks in. That's when my girlfriend kicks in. That's when my circle is like, all right, girl, let me pick you back up real quick because you got stuff to do. So, you know, I appreciate that. And you ain't have to make me cry, whatever. But it happened. So what? You know, normally it's supposed to be the other way around, but it's cool. You
Look, I
got
don't know
me.
why you crying. I mean, it's not because I like you. I think your brand is like worth something. I just know it's going to be $1 million brand. I want my check when it happens.
Cut the check. Bust
You know
it
what I mean?
down.
I'm just trying to make sure. I make sure I got my seat at the table while the
Man,
mortgage
listen. Yeah, because it ain't going to
got
be
some
but
great
so many
beverage.
seats. It ain't going to be but so many seats. This is not about to be a smorgasbord. This is about to be supper. And I would
Right.
really hate to dismiss someone. There are going to be some people I know that are going to have a last supper with me. Some people have already had
Hey,
it.
it be like that.
And it'd be like that sometimes. But, you know, I value my space. And I didn't used to be that type of person. I used to be so accessible by a lot of people. Like, I used to be accessible. And now I'm super choosy about who can even have my personal number. You know what I mean? And who can have access to me. Because I have to be very cognizant and very calculated with what I allow around me because of what I'm doing. And also, too, because of my family, and I'm very overprotective of my family, and that's whether that be, you know, my spouse, my mom, my dad, my godchildren, anything. I'm my friends that are now, because I don't know if I even have friends. I was talking to one of my really good friends yesterday, 2 days ago. He said, Kelly, I don't even know if I have friends anymore. I have family. You either a family or you just somebody I know. And so when I say my
Yep.
family, that's inclusive of everybody that might be someone who don't share the same last name as me, but you still my family. Like, Moves is my family. So I'm going to be very overprotective, and you know that. Sometimes I have to minimize. Sometimes I have to remember where I'm going because I don't want Kelz to
Right.
pull
God
up.
got your back. You're not just anybody.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it feels good to know that I've got that system, that level of support, because a lot of times some people don't have that. And a lot of times that stops people from doing what they want to do. They're like, I don't have the
Right.
support. And then this is where the ugly comes in. And then sometimes I can sit here, you know, some people will maybe, Kelly, you don't know what that feels like. You're absolutely right. I don't know what it feels like to not have support. I do know what it feels like for people maybe to not believe in you. I know sometimes what it feels like maybe not to even believe in yourself. And so this ain't even about anybody else. It's really just about what you believe in yourself. It really don't matter what anybody, like, other people believing in me is a plus. It's a plus, you know. But that all has to start with me believing in myself, and because that's what promotes me doing the things that I do. So, you know, it's helpful that I have my friends, you know, my family, and those at my table. And so I'm definitely thankful and grateful that you're at my table, man. You're at the forefront of my table. It's not
You
like
already know.
I don't gotta go looking for you. I don't never have to go looking for you. You know what I mean? And it means a lot to me. So this journey of becoming Koach K is not one that I expected. I didn't expect it. I didn't
I got one
expect to
more. I
even
got
be
one
here.
more.
What you
All
got?
right. So here's confirmation that you're
Mhm.
on the right path. All right. Here's some other people,
Mhm.
and it's not to put airs on anybody, so anybody's watching
Right.
this. But if you're
Right.
comparing her to show some respect. Just listen to the story, y'all.
Right.
Um, Somebody else who was on the right path.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, right?
Mhm.
History confirms that man existed. Whatever faith you
Mhm.
subscribe to, maybe he
Mhm.
played a different role, but he
Right.
existed,
Right.
right? When he started his journey, nobody was with him. He started by himself. He started
Mhm.
walking, and then people started following. He
Mhm.
started walking, and somebody else said, "Hey, where is he going?" Somebody else said, "Hey, where are you going?" Somebody else said, "Hey,
Yes?
where he's going?" Right? Malcolm X
Mhm.
got himself together. He had a, you know, he had a very tragic upbringing, very difficult. But once he reached that point, he started walking. People started following him. Hey, where's he going? I want to know where he's going.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King Jr. Hey, where is he going? He
Mm-hmm.
started walking. People started following him. Hitler. He started walking.
Mm-hmm.
People started following him. Right? You pick any major figure, and these are just the people who came to mind immediately for me because I didn't have this prepared. But there are plenty. Rosa Parks made a decision. People said, "What's going on there? I want to do it too."
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not about the fame comes after the beginning. The following comes from the start. People don't want to know about where you think we should go. They want to know where you're headed so they can follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Holmes started an ugly brand. People started buying. Started talking about doing it ugly. People started doing it ugly. So if you're ever not sure if you're moving in the right direction, you're on the right path. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing it so that people can follow you, or people following you because you're doing it? As long as you're doing it, and that's like I said, your superpower is integrity. As long as you're doing it because it needs to be done, people will follow. The ones who don't need to follow, they'll fall off. They'll find someone to follow for themselves that they want to follow because you're not the right person for them. So what?
Right.
As long as you're doing it because it needs to be done,
right,
people will follow you.
Well, you end it right there, man. I don't have nothing to say. That was till next time.
The.Ugly Truth podcast is sponsored by
The.Ugly Truth
Go ahead and get
Podcast.
your gear at theuglybrand.com, www.theuglybrand.com. I am Big Moves. This is Koach K, formerly known as Just Kelly Kelz. We are out of here, y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace. That was good, right?
Yo, that was good, man. That was good.